So thank you so much for working through these first 3 tutorials. I know that was a lot of time. We really appreciate your doing that, and so you can become a great creator of pirates and help us with the fight against telemarketing, against scammers. So really appreciate it. One more to go, and now you're practically an expert, so this should be pretty easy. So okay, let's dive into advanced pirate making.
Okay, so let's take a look at where we left off from tutorial 3 when we published Flemflossy for public use. So Flossy's ready to go. Anybody that wants can find her out there on the My Pirates page and add her to their crew or use her. But now let's assume that a couple of weeks have gone by. We've got some comments and some reviews, and we've decided that we want to make Flossy a little better. So we're going to add some funny comments here. We didn't have that much material in here, so we want to add some material. So for example, let me go do a distracting remark. Let me go add a distracting remark, and I go to edit that. And what I find is I can listen to what I've got in there, but I can't actually re-record it or add anything. Why is that? Well, that's because the public is now using, this is a version, a published version of Flemflossy. So if I want to actually make some changes and improve Flemflossy, then what I've got to do is go to my pirate actions, okay, and say I want a new version. And by getting a new version, I'll be leaving the version that's up there untouched. Everyone that's using it, there may even be calls in progress right now. And those people, their pirate will continue to work as it has while I do a new version of one, okay? And this little notation reminds me of that I can't change one that's already been published, but I can publish a new version. So here's my new version. I get the name V2. You're going to want to keep the name so people can find it. So you're not really changing the name. And it'll start off as not published because we're going to work on it for a while. So this is not going to be published, whereas version 1 is published. And that is just perfect for me because that's what I want to do. So notice now I've got Flemflossy, who's my published one, but then underneath I've got Flemflossy, who's my unpublished one. And for this one, I can go in and I wanted to add that new material, distracting remarks. Let's go in there and I'm going to add a new one. And look at that, I'm actually able to record something new. So let's see. Hey, I'm thinking maybe I should paint the house this weekend. Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt you? Okay, so there's a good recording. Tap to review. Hey, I'm thinking maybe I should paint the house this weekend. Yeah, I like that. I'm liking that one. I'll save that. Okay, so now I've got a second distracting remark. And, obviously I'd make a whole bunch more changes. And I would now have a new version of my pirate that I like a lot. I can test it just like I did with my other ones by calling and talking to it, getting logging sent to me via an email to tell me which recordings got used. But for now, let's assume I've done all that already, and I'm just going to finish my pirate. And you see Flemflossy 2 is an unpublished basic pirate. Let's go in here now and say, yeah, that's great. I like everything about this Flossy. And so I am going to, whoops, we've finished already. I am going to go and say, let's make that one public. Okay. And by doing that, I can then say finish pirate. Everything looks good. We've seen this before when we were doing in tutorial number 3, how we can do all that. And that's just great. I get reminded about my release. I'm releasing this for public use. I agree. And now Flemflossy 2 is out there. Yay, return to my pirates. Okay, let's go take a look and see what this now looks like to the community.
Currently answering calls from scammers with my crew. So who is my crew? My crew, you see here, let's just filter by my crew. Okay, Bloody Billy, Crazy Maisie, and Flemflossy. Okay, and what you'll notice is Flemflossy, I'm using the newest version, whatever the newest version is. That's the default if you don't set anything else. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that this user, Jolly Steve F, has decided that he really likes the old version and doesn't like some of the new changes. So you can't see, I think this screen capture software I'm using may not show you the drop down, but it drops down all the different versions. And I'm going to say, let me use version 2. No, that's the new one. I'm going to use version 1. Okay, so I'm going to stay back level and use version 1. Okay, so that's how a user can stay on different versions, although probably most of your users will choose to always use your newest version. Okay, let's change topics a bit now.
Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a different kind of changes that you can make that will greatly improve the ability of your pirate robots to catch telemarketers and hook them and make them talk to you. And that is to use a template that has more categories and lets you say more things, more interesting things. So the way you do that is similar to what we've been doing. So let's start by taking Flemflossy, and you'll notice that I'll use version 2. You'll notice that we have a couple of categories here. It says, and the card, it'll say that we're complete for 6 of 6. So you can see that there's 6 categories: greetings, how are you, first response, grunts, telling a story, and distracting remarks. Okay, so those are 6 categories. What we're going to do now is I'm going to start by Pirate Actions. I'm going to start by making a new version. You saw me do this before. So let's make a new version. And then for this new version, what I'm going to do is change. I've got a basic pirate template. So I'm going to change from basic to full featured pirate. So basic pirate is just use a template quickly to make a quick pirate. Really, for anything that you want to get really good and interesting, if you're having fun and you want to record a bunch of phrases for your pirate, you're going to want to use full featured. So if I do that, and I come back in and I say, okay, let's do a new version, then what you're going to see now is that my version 3 is an unpublished full featured pirate, and the progress is 0 of 28. So we got some work to do here. Okay. So it's got some, it's going to have my old greetings, but now in order to use a full featured pirate like this, I'm going to have more of them are going to be required. Like in the greetings, for example, I did have one greeting, my one hello completed, but it actually wants a bunch from me. You see here, required. So I actually, instead of just having one hello required, I'm required to have 6, I think. So that's a lot. But it does make it every time, even if you just said hello 6 times in a row, it'll all sound a little different, and it helps make the your pirate robot sound more natural. So basically, from here on in, it's the same process that you've been using, except that you'll notice now that we've got greetings, how are you? Now look, answer yes, yes plus. And as I scroll down here, you'll see many, many more categories. And each one of these, when you get to one of them, you'll be able to edit and get some directions. So if I go to do one of these, keep reading, I get lots of directions telling me and giving me some examples about what I have to do. And of course, when you're filling in this many recordings, you don't want to try and do this all in one sitting. We find it's probably about an hour to 2 hours to complete all of these categories if you're trying to do it in one sitting, but break it up, make it fun. Okay, so that is probably what you're going to want to do if you want to get some really great recordings out of it. And that is kind of an advanced topic, so I was glad to cover it here in our tutorial. The rest of what you'll do in terms of publishing is the same as it was for the other pirates that we did. And so I'm going to stop here because I think at this point you guys are pretty darn good pirate makers. And myself and the rest of the Jolly Roger team are really looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to produce to help us in the fight against telemarketers. Thanks so much for listening in. Once again, Jolly Steve saying, "Arr, mateys."